I think it's pretty obvious that for most people who are buying or looking at buying a Pixel device, one of the main selling factors is going to be that camera. They are known for being just extremely reliable, rock solid camera systems, and that has been by and large my experience with my Pixel Fold. I've really enjoyed having a Pixel camera on a foldable device. However, there's one thing about my Pixel Fold's camera that just drives me a little bit crazy. You've seen the thumbnails on my videos. 9 times out of 10, they were shot with a Samsung device, either my S23 Ultra or sometimes even my Z Fold 4, and I used portrait mode. If you've seen the shots of me holding a phone or whatever it might be, and then there's the thumbnail, that was probably a Samsung device. The portrait mode on those devices is just unparalleled in my experience. They pretty much always nail it, in particular when we're talking about objects like phones. Like I said, my Pixel Fold has a little bit of a problem. I'm going to try to kind of recreate this and show you guys what I'm talking about. Now, let me say this first and foremost. I do not know if this is a problem that is unique to my Pixel Fold. Is there something wrong here? I'm not exactly sure. And I do also want to say this problem predates me running betas. I am on the QPR1 beta now, but I've seen this as far back as, before I joined any of these betas, and I actually didn't see it when I was doing my review of the Pixel Fold. Basically, what happens is when you take a portrait mode shot with the Pixel Fold, and the circumstance is a little bit odd. It doesn't detect a face. It will occasionally do some very strange things. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump over to this screen here where I kind of did alternating shots. Pixel Fold S23 Ultra. Now, I know the S23 Ultra, that's maybe a little bit unfair. What we're looking at is just how it handles the blur versus the Pixel Fold. So let's look at shot number 1. This is my little girl Rose looking out the door. And yes, this door is dirty. I had not noticed that until I took these pictures. I'm sorry. My apologies. Hard to keep stuff like this clean when you have dogs. So the first thing you might notice is that you may be wondering, is this even using portrait mode? Because this is still pretty much in focus as if I just used the normal photo mode, not using portrait. But if you look more closely, you'll see that over here on the left, things are blurred. This helmet is blurred. We're blurred all the way into the foreground of this photo. Over here on the right side, we are in tack sharp focus all the way through. Portrait mode has bugged out and has really messed up this photo. Let's look at the S23 Ultra. This is so much better of a shot. It's not even funny. The blur is accurate. You can see that it's in focus here, and it slowly falls off as you move away. She is still in focus, but all of this is nicely bokeh out. Just a great shot. That's how that should look. Shot number 2 is a really tough one, and that's where these things begin to happen. What do you see? Well, once again, everything is in tack sharp focus except the left side, which is randomly blurry. What did the Ultra do? Well, kind of a bad shot. I was not even centered properly, but what you can see is that for the most part, the plant is in focus, and it's trying to blur things that are forward, which would be out of that narrow plane of focus there and there. This is still not a great shot. You would never actually use portrait mode in an instance like this. I was trying to challenge the Pixel Fold and see if it would fail in the same way, and of course it did. Another shot that is, again, challenging, and what did it do? It blurred the left side while leaving everything else in focus. The S23 Ultra nails this for the most part once again. These things are in focus, in focus. We're in focus here, but this is beginning to be further away, so it's blurred. This is pretty much how this should look. Here's a shot of Rutherford. Same exact thing. Left side is blurred. Everything else is in focus. S23 Ultra did a much better job, even if it did accidentally blur his face a little bit. These are challenging shots. And that's the biggest thing I want to get you to understand when you're using the Pixel Fold. And like I did in my review testing, I'm taking portraits of faces for the most part. It does a great job with that. Here's a good example. There's a face in the shot. It's absolutely perfect. Another good example, a face that's at a reasonable distance in the foreground of the shot absolutely crushes it. And then here's one I literally just took to kind of nail this point home. When it sees a face at a reasonable distance, it does a really great job. But for some reason, if it's in a challenging circumstance, not only does it fail, not only does it swing and miss, it swings, misses, and throws the bat into the second row of the stands, hitting someone in the face. And again, like I said in the beginning, I don't know if this is my Pixel Fold that's having this issue or if this is everyone. I would love for those of you that own one to try taking some challenging shots like that and see what winds up happening. Do you get this weird left side of the screen blur, or is this something that I'm experiencing all on my lonesome? The first time I really noticed this was trying to take shots like this. I took about 5 or 6 shots of them in different poses. This is my little brother and my niece. And this is the only one that got the blur even remotely correct. And even still here, it missed this area up here. This should be out of focus like the rest of this. And you can see the left side might be the most blurred area once again. All the other shots were so strange in their blur that I actually had to go in on my Pixel and just remove the blur altogether, which is, luckily a thing that you can do. But I wanted them to be portrait mode. I wanted them to kind of look like that. And it missed on, I think it was like 4 or 5 out of, 5 or 6. It missed on the vast majority of them. Honestly, it's really frustrating because I love this camera otherwise. Look at this 5x optical shot I took at the Knoxville Zoo. I mean, that is just an awesome picture. Another one here of this lioness. It literally looks like I was a foot and a half away from this lion when in fact I was shooting through glass at a pretty good distance. I have already snagged some of my favorite all-time mobile phone photos with this device, but I cannot tell a lie. Portrait mode lets me down at a higher rate than I would like. I would love nothing more than to be taking a thumbnail for this YouTube channel and to just pull up my Pixel Fold and snap the picture. But it's just not reliable. I grab my Samsung devices because they nail that way more often. Photos like this make for wonderful thumbnails. I probably needed to edit out my hand over here a little bit, but otherwise, look at how it handles this plant. It's just fantastic. Here's another great example. This is just fantastic. And I have literally found that when I use thumbnails like this, taken by the S23 Ultra, the video actually ends up having a higher click-through rate. So it's not just me that thinks it. It's you guys. You click on these thumbnails at a higher rate because they just look great. And I wish that I could say the same thing about my Pixel Fold, but I just can't. Here's one taken by the Z Fold 4, which I think looks remarkably similar to what the S23 Ultra is able to pump out. So guys, that's kind of where I am at right now with my Pixel Fold camera. I love it 99% of the time, but portrait mode is unreliable and does some weird things. I'm hopeful that this is something that can be corrected with some software updates. I see no reason why that cannot be the case. The hardware is clearly more than sufficient. Again, I do want to know from you guys, have you seen this sort of thing, or am I on my own here with this weird problem? Let me know in the comments down below, guys. I will see you on the next one, and until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.